All right, hey, good afternoon, everybody. What I want to do today is I want to talk to you about waivers. It's a very common question that I get as far as the process and what waivers do I need, how do waivers work, and whatnot. Before I go into like each individual waiver, I do want to stress and tell you that a waiver is just that. Like if you come into the OSO and you require a waiver, the OSO does not have any obligations to work with you. I mean, it is what it is. For example, let's say you have a waiver for any type of medical waiver or a waiver for drugs. Technically, you're disqualified from the program and the OSO has no obligation to work with you. I want to start off with that. However, if you're willing to put in the work or follow the guidance that the OSO gives you, 9 out of 10 times they're able to work with you if the waiver it's doable or they think you have a good shot of it getting it approved. So I want to start off with that, and then I want to start talking about each individual section and what requires a waiver. Again, not too much. If you do want more information, just hit me up down below, or feel free to contact me, and I'll be able to answer those specific questions in regards to waivers. So just looking at my waiver sheet here, traffic offenses. If you got a whole bunch of speeding tickets, that's going to require a waiver. Anything over 5. They want to. If you have 30, it's probably not going to get approved. So again, but talk to your OSO and get their opinions on it. But yes, traffic offenses, speeding tickets, running the red light, things like that do require waivers. Other than non-traffic offenses, this goes into getting tickets such as jaywalking. You got in trouble with the police, but it wasn't a misdemeanor. It was just kind of a ticket that you got that's not traffic related. Those are waivers as well. 1 or 2 may not be such a big deal, but you have more than that. Now you're looking at higher level waivers from the recruiting station commander to the district to the region. It just becomes a little bit more difficult to get. Let's talk about tattoos. That's actually the toughest waiver to get approved, believe it or not. Current Marine Corps policy has the tattoos within 2 inches of the elbow. Just to be safe, it's really 2 inches and 1 inch, but let's just go with 2 inches. 2 inches from the wrist, nothing showing in the shirt as far as the tattoos coming up, nothing on your hands. Same thing with the knees, 2 inches above and below. If any tattoo goes into those areas, yes, they can be approved, but it's just going to be difficult. It's just the way that the Marine Corps is headed. Tattoo waivers are some of the most difficult ones to get approved, but again, that's what you're looking at. Essentially, the OSO is going to have you put on physical training attire. They're going to see what tattoos are visible, how much you can cover with your hand. I'll be more than happy to provide you the references. Hit me up and I'll do that. But to be honest, those are the most difficult ones to approve right now from the OSO level. Drugs, I'm telling you right now, anything other than marijuana, you're probably not going to be approved, nor should it be entertained. Marijuana, there are waivers for that, as long as it's been a long time ago and you can demonstrate that you weren't addicted to it or whatnot. So yeah, there are waivers for that, but anything other than marijuana, it's probably not going to be approved and whatnot. What else do we have here? DUIs. I'll tell you, 1 DUI, it's pretty likely that it can be approved. Again, as long as you demonstrate that it's been a long time ago, and you demonstrated a volunteer service, you went to school, you did a lot of stuff to kind of get rid of that DUI in the sense where the good outweighs the bad. More than 1 DUI, there are waivers, but I'm going to tell you right now, those are going to be very, very difficult, because if you didn't learn from 1 mistake, what makes you think you're going to learn if they approve the waiver? So again, 1 DUI, I could see it happening. At least the guidance that I give my guys is that if it happened over a year and a half ago to 2 years, we can probably push that waiver. Again, considering or taking into consideration that they've accomplished stuff after that DUI. If they come at me with 2 DUIs, I'm not going to work them. It's just because it's a waste of time. It's not going to be approved. Felonies, again, yes, I guess there are waivers, but I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's going to approve a felony waiver. I guess a circumstance where I would see maybe something like that being approved, if you maybe did a felony, you stole over $500 when you were 17 years old, it's a felony, and you've now completed a master's degree, you've been clean, letters of recommendation from the highest of military officers. In that sense, possibly, but it still be difficult for a felony. Let's talk about age waivers. If you are over 28, by the time you commission, not by the time you talk to the OSO, by the time you commission, if you are over 28, you require an age waiver. Unless you're an active duty Marine going to the officer program, then it's 30. But everybody else, you're looking at 28 years old at the time of commissioning. For aviation applicants, you have to be 27 and a half and under by the time you commission to get a waiver. Will they grant you a waiver in the aviation side or the ground side if you're over 28 or 27 and a half? They will, as long as, but again, you cannot go requesting a waiver if you're not running a very high physical fitness test. And what is that? Well, I would say anything higher than a 275 physical fitness test makes you competitive for an age waiver. Obviously, higher than that will make you even more competitive. Don't come to your OSO requesting an age waiver and you're running a 220 PFT. It's just not going to happen. For the law program, same thing. Under 28 for law, and anything greater than 30 years old could be approved, all the way up to 34. However, it's at the highest level, which is headquarters Marine Corps. So 34 is the maximum allowed age. If you come at me, you're 35 years old, and you've accomplished everything imaginable on earth, I still can't get your waiver. 34 is the cutoff. No waivers after that, but there are waivers from 28 to 34. 28 to 30 is a lower level. Anything over 30, we're looking at headquarters. If you're married with one dependent, easy waiver. If you're married, you have more than one dependent, not too bad of a waiver. Single parent with a dependent, a little bit more difficult, but again, it's doable as long as you can demonstrate that you have somebody that can take care of your child while you're gone to officer candidate school and training. Test score waivers for the AFQT, or for the ASVAB and SAT waivers, there are waivers, but here's an example. If the qualifying score for an ASVAB is a 74 for the officer program and you score a 60, you're not going to get a waiver. We're looking at maybe 1 or 2 points max away from the qualifying score. The ASTB, the aviation test, same thing, only 1 point that you can't request a waiver. But I'm going to tell you, if you've only taken the exam one time and you go up to your OSO and you request a waiver, me personally, I would not even entertain that. I would have you take it 2 or 3 times. And I don't think the levels above me would entertain it. If they look at a waiver and they see you've only taken the exam once, they're going to want you to take it multiple times. And after you've taken it multiple times, you've only missed it by 1 point, then a waiver will be entertained. LSAT, same thing. LSAT qualifying scores of 150. If you scored a 149, but have demonstrated you've done well in law school, then I don't see how that waiver doesn't get approved. OCS drops. You can potentially go back to OCS. Those waivers, again, depending on what happened. If you got injured, easy day, waiver will get approved. Integrity, now we're talking about a more difficult waiver, but if it was an integrity and you can speak on what happened and it's not as bad as it may sound, then there's a chance you can go back to officer candidate school. If you quit at OCS, you're not going back to officer candidate school. If you do not accept a commission, nobody's touching that waiver. So don't quit at OCS, accept your commission, and you shouldn't be worried about that. What else? Yeah, so that's about it with the waiver process. But again, I stress that a waiver is just that. If you're not qualified for the program, the OSO does not have to give you a waiver. My advice to you is, if you're especially a college graduate or even a college student, and your OSO says, I am not going to do that waiver, maybe explore around a little bit. At least that's what I would do. I would maybe call an OSO, call a different OSO, take their thoughts on it, because some OSOs are willing to put in the time to do the waiver, and some don't, because in reality they don't have to. So my advice is, if there's a waiver out there that you're kind of worried about, there's over 60 OSOs around the country. Maybe you'll find one that would help you overcome whatever you need to in order to get that waiver approved. Just a little bit about waivers. Again, as for an OSO, it's very time consuming. We put in a lot of effort. It takes a lot of work to put a waiver through. So again, that's why not all OSOs would be hesitant to work a waiver that's very difficult, or any waiver for that matter. But again, if you have any questions in regards to the waiver process, you can hit me up, just reply to this video, and whatnot. Next week, we're looking at putting some physical fitness stuff out there. I want to show you guys what we used to train, some equipment that we made here in the office to help us with Officer Candidate School, to help prepare and help you succeed at Officer Candidate School. Hey, that's all I have for you. Great talking to you, and talk to you next week.